Hi guys, I'm Anne from Geeks of Green, and as promised, I'm here with a water propagation masterclass just for you. In this video, I will be sharing everything that I know about water propagation. Before we get into the video, I'm really excited to announce the winner for the month of May, and they will be winning this cute little hamper that we have put together at Geeks of Green with the launch of our new store. We thought we could put together this hamper for you. The winner is Ronak Gupta. Congratulations. Please send us an email on geeksofgreen@gmail.com so that we can send you your hamper. So the giveaway for the month of June has been sponsored by Meraki Orchids, and they have decided to give us a beautiful macrame planter and a concrete planter as well. Do check out their products in the links below. Home gardeners often water propagate many cuttings, but before I talk about this topic in detail, I would like to tell you that there are many better means of propagation that have higher rates of success. I will be continuing the series on propagation and will do more videos on how to use different mediums and methods to propagate your plants effectively. If you want more on this series, do leave it down in the comments below so that I will know that I should go ahead with this plan. When is the best time that you can root your cuttings? You can root your cuttings in water all year round, provided you are able to keep the surroundings of your cutting ideal for it to root. That is, you give it good humidity, good light, and good temperatures. Now, where I am at is in Maharashtra. The rains prove to be the best season to propagate cuttings here. That is because of the high humidity and the cooler days compared to summers where the heat can be too much and winters where the dryness is a lot. Now, in some places, the cold can be unbearable as well, and this can also hamper your cuttings from taking root. However, I am not saying you can't root cuttings all year round. Yes, you can. You definitely can. But what I'm saying is doing it at an ideal time helps, especially when you are busy and tend to get forgetful and are unable to properly care for that cutting. So the right season really helps you. Now use absolutely clean clippers or scissors that are disinfected with rubbing alcohol or what you call isopropyl alcohol, which is spirit. I'm sure we are all familiar with that. You can get it at any pharmacy. If you don't have rubbing alcohol, ensure that your tools are washed, dried, and clean. Now, why do we do this? We do this so that we decrease the chances of transferring any form of infestation or infection to the freshly cut cuttings. We do not want any pests getting into our cuttings that are already under a lot of stress. Also, pick clean containers, preferably glass or something that you can see through to keep an eye on the roots as opposed to ones that you cannot. Now, the ones that you cannot look at the roots do look pretty, but if you want to look at the roots and keep an eye on how it's growing, instead of always pulling it out, a transparent see-through container is always good. I choose narrow mouth ones for the plants that need to hang out a bit and you need some support for the leaf so that it doesn't fall into the container. So such plants go into narrow mouth containers. I use a wide mouth container for those cuttings that do not like a closed terrarium effect happening because the opening is blocked. I have seen Dieffenbachia cuttings rot in such cases, so you need the moisture to escape a little bit. So think about what cutting you're putting in what container, that always helps. How to take a cutting? For better success, take healthy cuttings, not sickly ones. That is if you have a choice. What I mean by this is if you're trying to save a plant that means a lot to you and it is dying, that is when out of desperation you would take a cutting out of it so that you have another chance at that particular plant. In that case, sickly cuttings are fine. But if you have a choice, always go for healthy cuttings. Don't go for leaves that are tiny towards the end, drooping. If you are just pruning a particular plant and you happen to get some cuttings that are not so good, you've pruned out all the branches that are not healthy, there's not much point in taking such cutting. So I would always say, if your aim is propagation, then go for healthy cuttings with big leaves, good leaves, and no infestations, no infection. That will give you more success. Now it's time to get some cuttings. You can water propagate almost any kind of plant. Some do well in water, some don't do well in water, some do better in some other mediums and some other methods of propagation. But in my experience, most plants that I have experimented with have rooted in water. But some have taken pretty long, some have taken months. Probably they didn't get everything that they needed. So you need to be very patient when you are starting your propagations. Some have rooted very fast in semi-hydroponic setups. So you need to choose what you have to do with your plants. Now, ranging from vines with nodes on them to Hoyas, to succulents, to Sansevieras, to woody stem plants, they all root in water. I cannot list down the names of all the plants and what kind of propagation they prefer for the lack of time. When you keep experimenting, you will learn. And when you're in the plant community, you can ask each other, and eventually through experience, you will learn about what plant does better in what kind of propagation. When you take a cutting, all you have to do for some plants is find the node of that plant and cut right below it. Now you may ask why the node? Because this is where the roots will grow out. This is in case of plants that have nodes like monsteras, philodendrons, epipremnums and other vining or climbing plants. Other plants like bougainvilleas with woody stems or zizis and sansevieras that don't have nodes like the vining plants, for them you cut along a healthy part of the stem and then put them in a container with water. Some plants need nodes to root, some have nodes, but the roots will grow from the stem as well. For some plants, you can root them from the leaves also. And for some others, you need cuttings of leaves with a part of the stem to get the leaf to root successfully. So you just have to snip off a part of the main stem along with the leaf and the petiole, and that will give you better success. How far from the node should you cut? Just a centimeter is enough. Don't cut too close to the node or too far from it. So there's a node right here without a leaf, and there's one leaf here. This this vine has a few leaves, so I'm going to just make the most of it. I'm going to cut about a centimeter under this node. You can see the node right here. This one. At an angle. And I'm going to cut off just above here a centimeter or so. So this here is my cutting. Okay, this is a cutting that I have. You could cut at a 45-degree angle. Now the reason people do this is to increase the surface area of the cut stem so that there is more scope for the water to be absorbed by the cutting and for more roots to grow. Now you must have seen videos where people cut the Sanseviera leaf bottom in this shape. That is to increase the surface area. Rather than having the cut this way, they make it this way. Now, I don't know how scientifically backed up this tip is, but there are many who do this and many who follow this method. I personally don't do it for my Sansevieras. I cut them straight and they have rooted fine. I've never had Sansevieras rotting or not rooting. So it's okay. It's up to you if you want to do it or not. I've heard this other reason that people talk about why they cut it at an angle, that is so that you can poke a stem easily into the medium. But with water propagation, that doesn't make sense. And also, if you have soft stemmed plants, again, I don't know how that angle will really help. So we'll leave it at that. If you cut it at an angle, it's fine. If you don't, it may be fine. I don't know, because I personally do all my cuttings at an angle. It's naturally, I don't know, it's sat down with me that I have to do it that way. So I naturally cut it at a 45-degree-ish angle, and I'm happy with that, and I don't want to experiment otherwise. So anyway, that's up to you if you want to do it or not. While taking your cutting, you could ensure that your plant has at least 1 or 2 healthy leaves for successful rooting. Keeping a lot of leaves on the cutting is unnecessary. You could rather divide it up and root more cuttings. Now, for plants without nodes, it is better to keep a couple of healthy leaves on for greater success. However, you can also keep stems only with nodes and the leaves will grow on it, and so will the roots. You can see this cutting. It's got a beautiful node right here, and then there's this long stem without any leaves on it. The leaves are right at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut below this node and make this one cutting. So just about a centimeter underneath. There you go. So this is my one cutting. This will go in water, and I can see some roots coming out from here. So I don't think this cutting is going to have too much trouble. So I'm left with this stem that has absolutely no leaves on them, but no worries. I'm going to cut the nodes and I'm going to put it in water, and maybe some of them will root, some of them will grow leaves. I'm doing this because I don't want to waste this stem of my Scindapsus pictus. It's a beautiful plant, and if I can get some cuttings out of it, great. So all I'm going to do is cut below the nodes right here. So this is one cutting. The other one is very small, but I think I won't cut it too small. So here you go. And yeah, this is not needed. I don't need that. There's no node on these parts, so I'm not going to put it. It's not going to root. You need these nodes for these plants to root. Okay, so these are going to go in water. So this is the experiment where with the Epipremnum aureum, I put stems in, and you can see that the leaves grew out of it, okay? So I'm going to pull it out and show you how the leaves grew out, and now the roots are growing as well. So this is some time back I did. So I had just put stems in. I didn't feel like throwing these stems, and I put it in, and some of them have rooted. Like if you can see, this is the stem that was in. There is a node, there is a stem coming out of that, and the leaves have grown out of that. The one that was submerged in water grew leaves. The nodes that were on top did not grow leaves. Okay, so probably I'll give it a cut here and let this grow. Over here as well, this stem has completely rotted. This is completely rotten. So I can just cut it off. But I'm left with this tiny baby plant that I can definitely plant and grow. So this is one. I can probably even cut this off, but I'll leave it for some time. It kind of supports the plant, so I'm going to leave it on for some time. Now this is the third one that was inside. It has shown no sign of change, but small signs of rotting. It's blackening at the bottom. But I'm going to poke it in and see, give it some more time, some more space. Let's see what happens with this one. So when you're propagating succulent-like plants, sansevieras and other succulents, you have to do things a little differently. As in, when you make a cutting, when you take a leaf of a sanseviera, you let it callus for a couple of days. Now, callusing is may sound like a frightening term, but it's simply letting the leaf cut dry up a bit before you put it into water, so that it doesn't completely rot. There is a high chance of it rotting. The fleshy succulent like leaf might rot if you don't give it enough time to callus. So that is one thing you need to keep in mind when you are rooting leaf cuttings from succulents. And not all succulents are dunked in water. There are many different methods that people root their succulent leaves in water. You put a cling film on the mouth of a jar and then poke your succulent leaf inside it, and the humidity from below helps the roots to grow. That's how you root your succulent. So these are a few things that you need to keep in mind when you are rooting succulent-like plants. Take more than one cutting from your plant, as some might not survive. And it is important to know this beforehand and make your peace with it. Some cuttings will be lost. By taking more cuttings, you are ensuring that you will have a few successfully rooted plants at least. What you do next is place your bottle in a spot where the cutting gets some bright light. This the plant needs. But if you are getting good light, you will also see algae forming, especially if you forget to change the water. If you have algae forming, clean it up and wash the roots. In my experience, it doesn't harm the plant, but it looks unsightly. That takes me to my next point: change the water every week or so. If you are super committed, you could even change it up every 3 to 4 days. The reason we change the water is the oxygen in it gets depleted, and fresh water provides that for your plant. Also, remember, if you are adding any kind of fertilizer to the water, do it the day you change the water so it doesn't get spilled out. Now, you may ask me, do we need to fertilize? I would say it is not necessary, but you could add a drop or two of seaweed fertilizer or some fish emulsion or some mild form of liquid fertilizer into the water if you want to. I have some plants sitting in water for the longest time, and I have no intention of putting it in soil. I have kind of left it on my propagation station and it looks nice there, so I've just left it there. I don't have pots, or I don't have time to do that. Anyway, those would need a little bit of fertilizing because in the long run they do need it, and they've been in water for the longest time. So if you're intending to keep plants in water for a longer period of time, then remember to add fertilizer. Then I would say it is necessary. If you're just rooting it, it is a choice. You can add, probably it will help your cuttings root faster, and maybe they will be healthier and better. You need to know this, that your cuttings that are propagating in water can get infestation of mealybugs or spider mites or different kinds of pests. So you have to keep a keen eye on it and wash it off in water, and you can spray neem oil on it, a diluted solution of neem oil on it regularly, so that the plant cutting is healthy and it doesn't get any such infestations. When do we need to transplant our cuttings? This probably is the most common mistake we make, and I have actually covered 8 common water propagation mistakes in another video I'd done some time back. You can watch that too if you are very serious about this means of propagation. So I'll leave the link for you down below in the description and on screen too. Now, if you want to let your cuttings grow in water, that is an option, but it won't grow like it would in soil or some nutrient-rich substrate. But you can grow it in water for the longest time. That's a choice that you have to make. But if you want to eventually transfer it into soil, then what you should do is pot it in a moisture retaining mix and do it when the roots are an inch or so. Avoid waiting for too long. In case you do wait for too long and you have missed repotting it or transplanting it into a soil medium, no worries. You can take those cuttings, trim the roots a bit, and then plant them in soil. But if you remember to put them in soil at the right time, the success you may have may be higher in them surviving that transplant. Many cuttings are lost while you transplant as well. They grow roots in the water, and then when you transplant them into soil, many cuttings are lost. So even when you're transplanting them, there are a few rules that you have to follow. Maintain humidity and moisture. That is very, very important because the plant is already used to that kind of moisture and humidity. And when you are transferring it into soil, there is a higher chance of it drying and losing that kind of moisture around it and the humidity around it. So keep your eye very keenly on your cuttings when you transplant them and give them what they need. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you in some way. I hope it answered some of your doubts, and I hope that all the cuttings that you propagate from now on, you will have success with. So leave in the comments down below if you want to add to this, if you have some tips or points that you want to add to this. It would be a great thing to share all of them with the community. Now, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Hit the notification icon for notification of videos so you can participate in our monthly giveaways for 2021. I hope to see you soon next week in another video. Till then, stay green.